Lesson 2. Skull Bones, Human Skeleton. Let's begin at the very top of the human body. The skull. It's not just a static shell. It's a marvel of engineering, protecting the brain, supporting sensory organs, and shaping the face. First, the cranial bones. These form the protective case around the brain. The frontal bone forms the forehead and the upper portion of the eye sockets. It's rigid, yet elegantly curved, shielding the brain from frontal impact. Next, the parietal bones. There are 2 of them, one on each side of the skull. They form the upper sides and roof of the cranium, meeting at the top in a precise seam called the sagittal suture. The temporal bones, also paired, sit at the lower sides of the skull. They house the structures of the ears and provide attachment for jaw muscles. Think of them as both protection and a functional anchor. At the back, the occipital bone forms the posterior skull and the base. It contains the foramen magnum, the opening through which the spinal cord passes, a literal gateway between brain and body. The sphenoid bone is often called the keystone of the skull. Its butterfly shape connects the cranial and facial bones, stabilizing the skull's structure. Finally, the ethmoid bone is a light, spongy bone located between the eyes. It contributes to the nasal cavity and supports parts of the eye socket, balancing strength with minimal weight. Moving forward, we encounter the facial bones, which define our appearance and support essential functions like chewing and breathing. The nasal bones, 2 small paired bones, form the bridge of the nose, subtle yet vital for airway structure. The maxillae, or upper jaw bones, are paired and form the floor of the eye sockets, as well as the roof of the mouth. They also anchor the upper teeth, supporting the mechanics of chewing. The zygomatic bones, commonly known as the cheekbones, are paired and form part of the lateral walls of the orbits. They're crucial for facial contour and muscle attachment. The palatine bones, paired and L-shaped, create the rear of the hard palate, separating the oral and nasal cavities. The lacrimal bones, tiny and delicate, sit in the inner corners of the eyes. They form the groove for tear drainage. The inferior nasal conchae, also paired, are scroll-like bones inside the nasal cavity, helping to regulate airflow and humidify incoming air. The vomer, a single midline bone, forms the lower portion of the nasal septum, dividing the nasal cavity into 2 halves. And the mandible, the lower jawbone, is the only movable bone of the skull. It anchors the lower teeth and allows chewing, speaking, and expression, a powerhouse of functionality. Now the auditory ossicles, tiny bones that seem almost inconsequential, yet are essential for hearing. The malleus, or hammer, attaches to the eardrum. The incus, or anvil, transmits vibrations from the malleus to the stapes, the stirrup-shaped bone that passes sound into the inner ear. Together they amplify sound with remarkable efficiency. Finally, the hyoid bone, a singular U-shaped bone in the throat. It supports the tongue, aids swallowing, and anchors muscles of the larynx. Even though it floats free, it's essential for speech and airway stability. Each of these bones, whether large or tiny, is meticulously designed to balance protection, support, and functionality. They interconnect, forming the foundation of the human head, and by extension, the gateway to everything we do: seeing, hearing, thinking, breathing, and speaking. Understanding the skull isn't just memorizing names. It's appreciating the logic of design, the interdependence of structure and function, and the elegance of human anatomy. And as we continue, we'll explore the rest of the skeleton with the same curiosity, dissecting how each bone contributes to motion, strength, and balance.